poker games, but I had a full house, and he had but he had four threes. So that's how I lost my
Oh.
Argentinian girlfriend. But hello, and welcome to the Jib. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of the many and varied U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. Hi, my name is Barry, and you might know me as the guy who confidently predicted Argentina would win the World Cup and finds it so embarrassing that he's just going to keep saying Argentina won.
Funny. They're really good losers.
Well, they won, so that's not an issue.
Right. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Seamus, and you may know me from such score work that I've been doing for some acclaimed hits. The critically acclaimed Project Hail Corky.
Hail what?
Project Hail Corky.
Oh, Corky. Okay.
Yep. The Devil Wears Spandex.
Oh God. Okay.
The Testament of Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay.
And 28 sinus infections later.
Oh God, that's a little bit close to home, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little meta, right?
A little bit meta, yeah. Myself and Seamus are both without sleep for different reasons, so we're going to be slow today and maybe a little bit duller than usual. So feel free to make fun of us in the comments if you want.
Yeah, or just skip this episode. Listen to it another day when you're just, you know, it's okay.
But because Argentina won the World Cup, I thought it would be good to do an episode about Argentina and all the fun and games that they had there. And I was going to do just about the CIA in Argentina, which would have started around 1955. But no. Instead, we're doing the context bit before we get to the good bit, right? So we've done that a few times in our... I'd start writing about Haiti, and I'd end up doing 2 hours of context before we get
to... So this is two-parter.
Yeah, it's going to be a two-parter, I think. Yeah. And just to let you know, another reason to skip this episode is nothing interesting happens until 1955. So this is going to be all like two sleepy guys talking about shite. So good. Good luck to you. Strap in, guys. It's going to be a bumpy night. Here we go. Also, my light is a little bit asynchronous, so don't worry if I disappear into the shadows. Very much like a Caravaggio painting, okay?
Ooh.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce to you Argentina. There it is, Argentina at the end of South America. It's a lovely, big, long-ass country, isn't it? Okay, all right. You found the sound box again, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Right. Okay, Spanish explorers, those bad boys, reached Argentina. I'm saying Argentina because that's what they say. Oh, yeah, by the way, if anybody here speaks Spanish, you will notice that my pronunciations are all incorrect. And that's because I'm pronouncing them the Argentina way, which is incorrectly, right? So don't worry about it. As Sean Spencer always said, I've heard it both ways, okay? Spanish explorers reached Argentina in the early 1500s. In 1536, Buenos Aires, I know. Buenos Aires, I know. I can hear it too. Don't worry, okay? The Americans will say Buenos Aires, and the Brits will say something else completely different. And in Buenos Aires itself, they will say Buenos Aires. That's how they say it there. Apparently, I've been told. I've never heard them say it, but I've been told that on Wikipedia they pronounce it Buenos Aires. And Barry Purcell in Ireland pronounced it Buenos Aires, which means fair winds, good winds. And it was founded by Pedro de Mendoza and abandoned 5 years later after sustained attacks from the native people. Go native people! Go native people!
Always.
Always. A second settlement was established in 1580 as part of the Spanish Empire, and this time Buenos Aires was here to stay. In 1776, the Spanish set up the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, which included all of modern-day Argentina and bits of some other countries. Argentina comes from the Latin word for silver, which finds itself in French as argent. If you know French, it's the same word, it means silver. And the river that goes through Buenos Aires is called Rio de la Plata, which means silver river, right? Because plata is the Spanish word for silver. But in English, for some reason, we call it River Plate.
Okay.
So that part of Argentina around the Rio de la Plata is called River Plate. And I'm not sure why it should be called the Silver River, but we live in dark times. No one understands anything. Although you'd expect from all this silver talk that Argentina would be a big silver producer, they were not, and they are still not. What they were was the port where all the silver and gold from the mines in Peru, which was at this point a part of the Viceroyalty, went through. So the Peruvian mines would have been in Argentina at this time. They didn't call it Argentina, they called it like the Viceroyalty of Spanish, whatever, right? To service this industry, the gold mining and silver mining industry, other industries cropped up like wagon construction and horse breeding. And beef herds were kept on the pampas of Argentina, which is what they call their low-lying grasslands. Some of the best beef land in the world is in Argentina. The best beef land, of course, is in Ireland, but one of the best is in Argentina. The gaucho culture of Argentina and their famous beef production today all go back to the 1700s. So they have a long and proud tradition, in other words, of gaucho and beef production and all that other stuff. In other news,
it's also a good Steely Dan album.
What's it called?
Gaucho.
Oh, is it gaucho? I don't know the Steely Dan album. I know Asia. I know that's all I know.
Pretzel Logic. Can't Buy a Thrill. They're all great stuff. They did not make a bad album.
Steely Dan have a terrible reputation as being boring. Do you know that?
I don't get it. They're fantastic.
They've made some wonderful songs.
They're the best band to ever be named after a marital aid. Nobody can top them on that.
Is it named after Marmalade?
Yeah, that's really what a Steely Dan is.
Oh, I thought it was like a train or something.
No.
Oh, kind of a train, I guess. Into the tunnel. Right. Anyway.
Got that right.
I've heard that's what I've heard. I've seen it in movies. In other news, by 1800, nearly 30% of the population of Buenos Aires were black slaves, right?
Oh boy.
Slavery does not have a big part to play in this narrative. I just thought I'd drop that in.
That's good to know. Seems like it's a part of almost every episode. Seems like it just finds a way to get in there.
It can be, yeah.
It's that whole imperialism thing. They just can't do it without slavery.
Yeah.
Just can't make it happen,
Yeah. Or
it's weird.
In the Congo episode, they were shipping them out, but in Argentina, they were shipping them in.
Just got to play a role somehow. That's all that matters.
Yeah. As part of the Napoleonic Wars, during a very odd window when Spain and France were allies in 1806, and after they defeated the French and Spanish fleet at Trafalgar, England tried to invade River Plate. Now, this is all terribly interesting because it's part of, as I said, the Napoleonic Wars. Now, if you look into this, it's hard to believe now, but pretty much all of Europe declared war on Napoleon and France 6 separate times.
Yeah.
And they lost 5 of those times.
Yeah.
And they're called what were they called? The First Confederation or something. The First Conspiracy against Napoleon, the Second Confederation against Napoleon, the Third Coalition. The War of the Third Coalition against Napoleon, the War of the Fourth Coalition, and they're all the same guys. And it's just one guy. Napoleon was such a badass and really good at what he did. He managed all of Europe 5 times, and all we remember is fucking Waterloo.
Yeah.
One time when he fucked it.
One fuck up.
The man's a genius. Like, he's not nice or anything, but he's a military genius. You can't deny that.
No, I would say he definitely had that. What's the term? I don't want to say benign dictator at times, but he was
he wasn't the worst.
He was an enlightened despot. I think is the best way. You know what I mean?
He definitely did
some
asshole in some ways.
Yeah, that's somebody you want to bring back. That's for sure. So
no, but if you're looking at just pure Stalin-esque, I'm in charge of a country stuff, he's really good at that. Yep. Like, again, I wouldn't say Stalin's a good guy, but he was good at running the country.
Napoleon is probably the best military mind ever. I mean, I don't think that's hard to beat. Yeah.
It's amazing. It is amazing what he managed to do with that country and that army against all of Europe. He was being attacked on all sides, remember?
Yeah.
And the man's a genius. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, we could go into why he lost Waterloo another day, though.
It's nothing to do with the CIA or Argentina or anything, but it's just
was it?
In 1802, the CIA... No, they didn't. But because of the Napoleonic Wars, there was a weird narrow window when France and Spain were on the same side, and England were fighting against them because Spain was pretty much colonized by France during this time.
Right. And his brother was basically sitting on the throne there for a good portion of time,
I refer to him later on somewhere.
Oh, sweet. Good old Joe.
Joe Bonaparte.
Yeah.
What it means is that the English then decided that they were open to attacking all the Spanish possessions, which is fair enough. You're in a war, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Argentina would have been one of these places. So in 1806, England tried to invade River Plate, or Rio de la Plata. They occupied Buenos Aires for 46 days, but were eventually expelled. And this is something, again, about the history of Argentina. Against giant force of arms, they always seem to maintain. And no one's entirely sure exactly how they managed to do that, but that is a constant theme throughout the history of Argentina, as somebody can go in and try and attack them, and for some reason, they just kind of maintain.
Is it geography, like Sweden?
I don't think so. I think it's just pure pig iron.
Okay.
I think it's the will of Buenos Aires people.
Kind of like Albania and
Oh yeah, you remember
yeah,
Albania? So
yeah,
the
oh
white
yeah,
Albania of these people.
yeah.
Um, but remember, these people are not like native Argentinians now. These people are
Right,
basically
right.
Spanish. Yeah. A second British attempt was also repelled 2 months later, but it was a messy battle and hard fought by everybody. August the 12th is now celebrated in Argentina today as the Reconquista de Buenos Aires. Right?
Okay.
The descendants of the Spanish people who now regarded themselves as Argentinians were called criollos, which is like the, do you
Yeah,
know the Pied Noir in Algeria?
yeah.
The power structure who were essentially French, but they thought of themselves as Algerians because they lived in Algeria,
Right.
but they're actually French. These guys thought of themselves as Argentinians, and they're called criollos, but they're actually Spanish, more or less, you know. But these people, the criollos, who despite their whiteness were still regarded as a rung below actual Spanish people from Spain. So the Argentinian Spanish people were called criollos, and the Spanish people from Spain were called peninsulares for obvious reasons. And the peninsulares were the ones who were all in the positions of power. Now, this is going to be a common thing in all kind of. Eventually, a colony gets to a point where the people living there see themselves as living there and not
Right.
necessarily attached to the. Yeah, this is what is happening in
Native,
Argentina.
nativist kind
They've
of
got native.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. Still not good news for the Native Americans or whatever, but it's
No.
a little bit better.
Yeah, the actual
Didn't happen.
indigenous folks, yeah.
Yeah, it happened in America as well. The Americans,
Oh, yeah.
the British people started seeing themselves as Americans after a while, you know?
Yeah, it didn't take long.
No. After the Reconquista de Buenos Aires, independence was in the air. In 1808, Napoleon replaced King Ferdinand in Spain with his brother Joe Bonaparte.
Mm-hmm.
Joe was-
Joey!
Joe, all right, Uncle Joey. So, fair play to the family who said, child number one, Napoleon, child number two, Joe. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was enough to kickstart a series of legal and military maneuvers which led to the May Revolution in 1810. No, that's the first map of Argentina. What can you tell me about that map, Seamus?
It's actually kind of Britishy. With
It's the map of
crown and... Oh, okay.
That is the current map of Spain, and it was also the map of Argentina when it started is the map of Spain because it was Spain. Now that's the 1810 flag. Now, the running joke in this episode will be that the flag changes every so often, right? It's just part of the running joke. The May Revolution in 1810, which led to the removal of the Spanish viceroy and the installation of a local Criollo government called the Primer Junta. Political instability in Spain. Now, these guys, the Primer Junta, they felt that they were running the colony on behalf of King Ferdinand
Okay.
instead of Joe.
Right.
So to them, they were like the real Spanish people. They weren't like they were independent, but they didn't really know they were independent. They thought they were working for the king. Political instability in Spain did nothing to convince successive Spanish administrations or the French occupiers of Spain at the time that this junta was anything other than an unruly gang of rebels. Nevertheless, the junta expanded later that year to include parts of Uruguay, Brazil, Peru, and even Bolivia, but their territorial claims would vary wildly over time. Anyway, the point is, now they were called the United Provinces of the Rio de la Plata, or Argentina. And the official name of the country is the United Provinces of the Rio de la Plata. But I'm going to use this interchangeably with Argentina because I couldn't be bothered doing the search and replace thing and that word has, right?
Fair.
Now, the monarchy in Spain finally got its act together in 1814 and set about getting back control over Latin America. It kind of fucked all of Latin America during the Napoleonic Wars. Peruvian royalists had been successful in battles all along the northern border of the United Provinces, but the Argentinians had a fantastic navy and were able to hold their own. The Argentinian navy was so well run that over time they managed to attack Spanish California and even the Philippines.
Oh.
The Philippines being a Spanish territory. On the way to the Philippines, the Kingdom of Hawaii became the first country to officially recognize Argentina. The army, like the navy, was so well run that they managed to act decisively to ensure the independence of Chile and of Peru. The Argentinian army did. At this point, the leaders of Argentina were called Supreme Directors. That's just what they were called. Now, you'll know the darker blue and the sun in the middle, that sun represents the Inca Empire, which again is not to do with Argentina, but at this time, parts of Peru would have been a part of this, and that sun is called the May sun. That's still on the current Argentinian flag, as you're aware.
Mm-hmm.
On the 9th of July, 1816, the independence of the Argentine Republic, La Independencia de Argentina, was declared. July 9 is celebrated in Argentina today as Independence Day. Hoo-ha! While
Oh.
they were fighting for their independence, as is quite common, there was also a series of fights among themselves, mostly between the centralists, meaning those who supported a centralized government in Buenos Aires, over all the provinces of River Plate, and the federalists, who favored a union of more or less self-governing provinces, right, more like America. There were also many subgroups within these two broad factions who disagreed on other things. It was total chaos. The early 1800s up to the mid 1800s in Argentina were total political chaos. But somehow they managed to have an Argentina through it all. It's the next one, lighter bars, and the sun in the middle that will look very familiar to us all because that's very close to more or less the current flag. And what we're seeing is the gradual, often excruciating crawl through the broken glass of political chaos to eventually a democratic republic. And they do make it eventually, so don't worry, that's the good news. In 1820, the centralist government fell in another civil war to the federalists. And these were just constant rolling civil wars the whole time during this time. That map, as you can see, is more of something the guy scribbled in the back of an envelope.
Yeah, I mean, it looks. What's with the four like popsicle hat?
They're
looking,
caps. They're hats.
looking.
That the guy who drew that map, they reckon he just did it himself, literally on the back of an envelope. Those are little workman's hats, and they would be like a kind of a symbol at the time. And even before any of those flags, they used the little hat as a symbol. There's a word for it, but I can't.
Okay, Santa hat, a gnome hat.
Gnome hat, that'll do. Gnome hat.
Okay, gnomes.
The centralized government was
oh, wait a minute. This is about the gnomes?
Yeah, the Argentinian gnomes.
Jesus.
That's nomos.
You stuck this one under me, you fuck. Wow, that's just impressive.
I told you, I gave you all the text.
Yeah.
And I said you could read it if you like. That was up to you.
You didn't tell me there'd be gnomes in this. I don't see gnomes in this. You lied.
Okay. In 1820, the centralist government fell, another civil war to the gnomes. The centralized government was devolved to largely self-governing provinces held together by treaties and pacts rather than any constitution, and there was no centralized legal system, which is what you want in a federal system.
Sure.
The age of the supreme directors was over. The closest these independent states had to a prime minister was the title of a guy called the governor of Buenos Aires province in charge of internal relations.
Okay.
The United States, the United States formally recognized...
So brevity wasn't an issue for them, I guess, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Their country was called the United Province of the Rio de la Plata.
Right.
The United States formally recognized the United Province of the Rio de la Plata, which is what Argentina was called then, in 1823. Also in 1823, Argentina gave a German merchant rights to use the Falkland Islands, Malvinas, for fishing and cattle rearing. Now, I've put a little red ring on the Falkland Islands. Now, you remember where Argentina was from the first image, right?
Yeah.
And you probably know where England is. Up at the top there, right?
I mean, you could see the words Argentina on the map, so just,
right.
You know.
So England wants you to believe that they have a superior claim on the Falkland Islands than Argentina.
Of course they do. They're British. That's what they do.
In the next paragraph, the people fighting over that red ring there are England and Spain, which are over at the top, middle top of that image. There is England and Spain.
Okay, wait. All right, we can sell this really easy though, Barry.
Go on, sell it. Go on.
Which one of them put the ring on it? Because that's all that matters. That's what Beyonce told me.
England did.
Well, then I guess it's Britain's bitch. Sorry, guys.
I mean, it kind of is. Anyway, the Argentina gave a German merchant rights to use the Falkland Islands, Malvinas, for fishing and cattle rearing. These islands were previously occupied by Argentinians, and before that, British and Spanish colonists, after being discovered by a French guy. So none of this is clear, right?
Sure.
Going back in time a little bit now because we're doing a Falklands bit. In 1770, the British and Spanish had a naval standoff over their competing settlements on the islands. So there was a British little town and a Spanish little town. This was resolved not at all when both nations decided to keep their settlements and also maintain their claim on the entire islands. In 1774, the British left due to hostile living conditions, but they left a plaque stating their claim. This plaque was removed by the Spanish at the first available opportunity and sent to Buenos Aires, presumably to be installed in their local Museum of Colonial Mockery. So that's in 1824, due to Brazilian aggression and continuing problems in the north.
Fuck. These aren't getting any better, Barry.
Which?
These flags.
Yeah, sorry.
Are they fighting over the gnome hat?
It's a symbol. But you see the Mason is still there, right?
Yeah, the sun's still there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of flags. And two dudes are fighting over a gnome hat.
Well, that's the flag of Buenos Aires.
It's just, what the fuck?
In 1824, due to Brazilian aggression and continuing problems in the north, everyone in River Plate agreed to a federal congress. In 1826, a national constitution based along centralist lines was again enacted with the proper president. Now, centralist meaning that there's one guy in charge of all the provinces, right? And again, that's never going to last because no country is going to last like that, right?
Right.
The first president was called Bernardino Rivadavia. Don't get too attached to him. Almost immediately, the federalist provinces, which would have been pretty much all of them, rejected his presidency and he was forced to resign. By 1831, the Federalists had again prevailed and created the Argentine Confederation, again without a head of state, but with a governor in charge of internal relations, who also tended to be the governor of Buenos Aires, and also tended to be a guy called Juan Manuel de Rosas.
Yeah.
And that is the flag of Buenos Aires more than the flag of Argentina. In 1832, the next year, Britain sent 2 warships to reassert their control of the Falkland Islands. In
just won't let it
1832,
go.
just to let you know, in 1832, right? So if you hear
Yeah.
about Britain sending warships to the Falkland Islands, you should be asking, well, okay, what year is this, right?
Yeah.
To further put the total chaos into context, from 1836 to 1839, also during the rulership of Juan Manuel de Rosas, Argentina was fighting the War of the Confederation, where the Peru-Bolivian Confederation declared war separately on Chile and Argentina, which was the Argentine Confederation. Now, this is absolute chaos again. Every single one of these powers was simultaneously engaged in a civil war. All those countries were in the middle of a civil war while fighting this other war. Imagine the chaos. Imagine trying to do business. Imagine trying to live. Imagine trying to raise a family in the middle of that. In 1838, France blockaded Buenos Aires to support the Peru-Bolivian Confederation. France tried to rope in Uruguay, which was also experiencing a civil war of its own. The French forces shut down Buenos Aires completely for 2 years.
Wow.
Now, let's just have a think about what it takes to blockade a city, a port city, for 2 years. Nothing got sold, nothing got shipped in or out. How do you live under those conditions for 2 years, right, in Buenos Aires? Also, how would the French Navy... Go on.
That's not relevant to anything going on today in the area of Iran or the area of Cuba. I mean,
Years.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff. And in fairness, how did the French Navy keep it up for that long? Like, how do you keep people on a blockade for 2 years?
There's pills for that.
Well, they're all going to die of scurvy.
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to prevail, right? That's the byline, tagline to this one. Somehow they managed to prevail. Somehow they managed to survive, and eventually the French more or less got bored and wandered off. The War of the Confederation also ended in 1839 in what can only be described as disarray, but with a better idea of what the words Peru and Bolivia mean. In 1845, still under Juan Manuel de Rosas, the British and French navies again blockaded Buenos Aires, again in support of their chosen side in the civil war in Uruguay, because Argentina supported the other side. Argentina was also regulating the waterways that the European powers were using to ship the resources back home and out of Latin America. The leaders of Argentina could not understand why the US wasn't doing anything about what was a clear violation of the Monroe Doctrine. If you remember our old friend, the Monroe Doctrine. And because the Americans never responded, we may never know why the Americans never did anything about this clear violation of the Monroe Doctrine. But I'd say, Seamus, you'd make a good guess, would you?
They just didn't want to get involved. They just, they just didn't want to bother with it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And also because it didn't actually affect any of their interests.
Yep.
So the Monroe Doctrine wasn't so much about what it said. It was about protecting American interests.
Right.
Despite losing pretty much every battle, Argentina basically won because none of the long-term French or British aims were met. Everyone signed the Arana Southern Treaty in 1849, which granted power over waterways in Argentina to Argentina. So that's good.
Okay. Yeah.
The more control you have over your own junk, the better, right?
Yep.
And remember, this blockade lasted 5 years, and the one before lasted 2 years. 5 years of a blockade on Buenos Aires, and they still survived it. It's incredible. Although Juan Manuel de Rosas was a competent military ruler, many in the provinces thought he was bad for business, I guess because of all the shutdowns of the business. And he was overthrown in 1852 by Justo José de Urquiza, who, being a federalist and not a centralist, decided to immediately hold a constitutional convention.
Oh.
The resulting... Go on.
Interesting. Go on.
Yeah, the resulting constitution... Oh, none of this is interesting. I told you that at the top.
I think it is.
I think it is too. And I'm hoping somebody listening to this might, but I did flag it. I told you guys at the start, a lot of this is legalese. The resulting constitution was inspired, as many were, by the US Constitution. And in fairness to the US Constitution, it did in fact inspire a lot of constitutions around the world. It was so well written and so well crafted and had a lot of good stuff in it. We can't deny that. There's a lot of good stuff.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that another time because I think I think if we ever revisit some of the previous episodes we did with the founding feckheads, I think a lot of things were plagiarized, obviously from Hobbes and Locke and whatnot, as
Oh,
far as
absolutely.
Jefferson
But
goes.
they didn't hide that.
Jefferson tried. He really
Thomas
tried to
Paine,
blow his own horn. No,
Thomas Paine
Paine.
didn't try.
No, Paine. That's the difference. Yeah, Paine by far is head and shoulders above all the other founding fathers. That's why he's not a feckhead like the ones
I like
the problem with the problem with the Constitution is it never evolved like it was supposed to. And
Correct.
Thomas Jefferson even said it was supposed to be a living document that goes
Correct.
forward. Instead, we just put it in stone, and you see
Like
where we're
it's the
at
Bible.
now. Yeah.
Correct. However,
So
I would ask you to remember that at the time of this, around 1800, at the way the
you're spot on. You're spot on. Right? It absolutely helped change the game in a lot of ways. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
we didn't learn from it. So, or
No,
at least
no,
we
no.
chose not to.
and it was inspired,
So-
I think, in part by the French Revolution as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Fuck
if
yeah.
you're in Argentina and suddenly these guys are inspired by the American Constitution, that's good news
Yeah.
for Argentina, right? And in general, the American Constitution did represent an advance of how democracies are
Sure.
a thing. Yeah. I like it. If you look at it now, there's still a lot of good stuff in it right now.
Yeah, some.
Yeah. I mean,
Could
there's
be a
some
lot
shit.
better.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you can't, anyway. Like you said, it was supposed to be a living document, and they forgot that bit.
Yeah.
The resulting constitution was inspired, as many were around the world, by the U.S. Constitution in its division of powers and limits on federal activity. Buenos Aires seceded and formed its own country, but it was dragged back into Argentina after the Battle of Pavon in 1861. That's right, we're still only in 1861,
Wow.
folks. In 1862, we're going to get there, don't worry. In 1862, the leader of the previously separate Buenos Aires, Bartolome Mitre, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Mitre maybe, was elected president of the first nationally unified and politically stable Republic of Argentina.
Ooh.
And to that end, we surely be to the Lord Jesus have a flag for that. Now, does that look familiar?
Yeah, it looks like one of the ones we already had. So
That is the current flag of Argentina, current
Yeah.
World Cup champions for 2026. Well done, Argentina, by the way. You played a blinder, I'm led to believe. In 1862, the leader of the previously separate Buenos Aires, Bartolome Mitre, was elected president of the first nationally unified and politically stable Republic of Argentina, and that's their flag, and that stayed their flag. He was elected unanimously by the Electoral College Mitre had insisted on before Buenos Aires rejoined Argentina. So Buenos Aires was a separate province during this short time. He was in charge of it, and as part of the negotiations to push Buenos Aires province back into Argentina country, he said we'll have to have an electoral college like they have in America, knowing full well that he would smash it. He went for president. He unanimously was elected by the electoral college because he knew he would be, and then he was the president. And now we're going to have the top 10. And we haven't had one. Brilliant. But fantastic. Well done. And this top 10 is going to be an image with some faces on it. And we're going to play Guess the Argentinian. So here's what I want you to do, Seamus. It's very simple. I want you to guess the Argentinian. Okay, top left.
Fuck off.
Who's that?
She's an actress, but I can't think of her name.
Can you think of anything she's been in?
Was she in The Witch?
Yes.
Yeah, she's
That
fantastic.
girl's name is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Okay, obviously I know Shay on the other
Wait,
side.
no,
there.
wait, no. We're going to go.
We're not going to go.
in order.
Okay, whatever. All right.
That's Anya Taylor-Joy. Don't worry, you'll get your chance. This is Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in The Witch, and she's a fantastic actress, and she is Argentinian. She wasn't born in Argentina, but she was accidentally born somewhere else. But she sees herself as Argentinian, and both her parents are Argentinians, and she was raised in Argentina, so she's Argentinian.
Okay.
Right, the next guy with the guitar. Do you know who that is?
Gardel?
Yes,
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
that's his name.
Okay.
You know him to see him.
I've heard of him, yeah.
He is the most famous tango musician ever.
Mm-hmm.
He did much to popularize the tango. I knew his name, but I didn't know what he looked like. So well done. I did not know him at all.
Yeah, I think fucking John McLaughlin talks about him before.
Oh, I love John McLaughlin.
Yeah, he's big into
Wonderful.
Latin music and stuff, so
He's big into anything that isn't Western music.
yeah. The fucker
like
can still
McLaughlin.
the guy can still fucking play, man.
Yeah.
And fucking Jeff, they did a tribute to Jeff Beck, and just he stole the show. He was just
He
incredible.
played everyone off the stage, did he?
Oh, he's still
Amazing.
just amazing. He's a fucking 80s, and he might be the greatest ever. I mean, really, just
Well, yeah.
it's just
Here, but-
ridiculous.
When people say like who's the greatest guitarist, all you ever hear normally is rock guitarists. They don't talk about jazz guys. Well, I don't know why. Anyway,
Yeah, he can
You'll-
play everything that the rock guys can play, and I'm I mean I love rock guys. I mean, that's why I picked up the guitar. But I mean, yeah. So, but anyways,
You know the joke between the rock guitarist and the jazz guitarist.
huh?
A rock guitarist will show up and play 3 chords in front of thousands of people, and a jazz guy will play thousands of chords in front of 3 people.
Yes, yes, that is
John
absolutely
Lennon,
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, number 3. Do you know what that is?
No idea.
You will know him when I talk about him, but you might not recognize his name. His name is Cesar Pelli. He is an architect. He's designed many of the world's greatest skyscrapers, including many bank headquarters all over the world, and perhaps most notably the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. You've seen them.
Oh, okay. Well, if you said Paley, I would have just assumed the footballer, but you know.
Maybe he might be a footballer as well, I don't know, but he's an architect. Very famous architect.
Yeah.
Okay, now, top right, who's that?
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That's
the
who it
second
is.
top.
Yeah, he is the son of God,
He is.
the hero of all.
Yes, he's Argentinian, and his
Yep.
name is...
Che.
What's his real name?
He's God.
What's his real name?
Guevara.
Yes, his
Che
real name
Guevara.
is Ernesto Guevara.
Ernesto. Yeah, yeah. Or
Do you know why
Doctor.
they call him Che?
Dr. Che Rivera.
Do you know why they call him Che?
Honestly, I can't remember.
They call him Che because in Argentina, if you want someone to come over and say hello to you, you'll say like, you know, in English you'd say come here for a second, come here, right?
Uh huh.
In Argentinian Spanish, you say Che, Che.
Okay.
So he used to say, all anybody heard him say is whenever he came into a room, he'd say Che, Che, Che. So they called him Che Guevara.
That's kind of funny. Okay.
It is very funny, yeah. Okay, now the lady there on the left, who's she?
No idea.
Her name is Eva Duarte.
Okay.
She is maybe one of the most famous women in Argentina. You may know her as Evita Perón. She was Juan Perón's wife, and the musical Evita was written about her.
Okay.
And towards the end of the musical, she stands outside the presidential palace on the balcony and says, "Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you." Right?
Well casted as did Madonna play her or something?
Madonna played her at one point, yeah. Rebecca Storm
that was
played her. Next is another lady. Do you know who that is?
no idea.
You might know her if I say her name. Gabriela Sabatini.
It sounds familiar, but I'm still drawing a blank.
She's a very famous tennis player in the 1990s. So Gabriela Sabatini would be familiar to anybody who saw Wimbledon in the 90s. She was always there,
Yeah.
losing to Martina Navratilova.
Right.
Now, the next one next to her is, do you know him?
No.
His name is Jorge Luis Borges.
Sounds
Does that mean
familiar.
anything to you?
That
Jorge
sounds
Luis
familiar.
Borges is a writer of short stories who is one of the best writers of short stories on the planet. And if you feel like reading any of his books, you will not be disappointed. He wrote in the 1930s and 40s, and there are these beautiful little surreal, fantastical stories about libraries and forking paths and labyrinths, and they're beautifully written. And
Anything anybody would recognize? I mean,
The Garden of Forking Paths is probably his most famous one.
okay.
He wrote a lot of really good stories. The Aleph is another one. I have pretty much every story he ever wrote. And they're just, if you're interested in short stories, he's a lovely little writer, and he's an Argentinian cultural icon. Now, next to him, the man with the wings. What would you call him?
Messi.
That's Messi. He is. I'm given to understand he is a popular player of sports in Argentina.
Yeah. Yeah,
In
he might
particular,
be. Some people might say he's the greatest football player ever. I don't know.
Yes.
He's got to be up there.
I hear he specializes in association football, and I also understand that he is uncommonly for association football players. He apparently is a very nice person.
Oh, I honestly don't know a lot about that part of it.
He spends a lot of time doing work that he doesn't have to do to help people. Put it that way.
That's good.
Now,
Although I think a lot of people in Ireland would say George Best was the greatest footballer, but I don't know
he
about
was certainly
that.
the greatest. He was certainly the greatest drinker.
Right? But he was a fucking character.
Yeah,
Seriously, folks, go look up George, or go watch. I think there's a couple documentaries on him. It's fucking hysterical. I mean, tragically funny in a way, if you know what I mean. You know, so
if you watch him play football, it's genuinely watching like watching him play with a bunch of kids. It's incredible. Really incredible. What he's able to do. Right, bottom left. Who's that?
Isn't he a football manager?
Yes, but he's also a football player. Do you know his name?
No, I'm sorry.
You'll know it when I say it.
Okay.
His name is Diego Maradona.
Okay.
Maradona was part of a World Cup winning, very much like this year, a World Cup winning Argentina side. and he was also a manager, as you said, and also a prodigious cocaine aficionado.
Yeah, a lot of people like literally heard the argument about Messi versus everybody, and his name
Yeah.
is brought up as been like somebody compared to
Maradona.
him. Yeah, just
Yeah.
because Maradona, it was basically Maradona and a bunch of shit bags, and somehow they still won just because of him because he was
Yeah.
that fucking. It was like he was that much better than everybody else on the clubs, and
Yeah. Well, it's just as well they just.
yeah, before he started inhaling life through his nostrils. So
Yes. Although I imagine he would have done that while he was playing as well.
yeah, I mean, much just like George Best, had issues. If they both
yes.
if they both laid off their particular vices, they both would have lasted longer. And that's probably why Messi stands out because he's been able to still play at a high level for so long. So
Yeah. Well, Diego Maradona had, let's say, substance use issues.
yeah,
But he was a very good footballer in his time, and he was so good that he managed to pretty much punch a ball into a goal once, and the ref said, "Yeah, fine." That's true, by the way. England were not happy with it, but fuck them. Okay, now the last picture there in the bottom right is, you know what that is?
a pedophile.
No, he ran that organization though.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He just helped cover for pedophiles and
Yeah.
pushed them around and defended them, and he also said it was okay for people to kill others for the name of God or making fun of religion. But hey, he was just
What's his name?
Pope Frankie.
Yes.
Yep.
His real name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio.
Yeah, Frankie was an upgrade.
Frankie, Pope Francis. But he was, as you say, he was well liked, and he was a fairly likable chap. But he was, as you said, in charge of an organization that is fundamentally unlikable.
Yeah, but as David Cross said about him, could the bar be any lower whenever you mentioned that he was that great? You know what I mean?
True.
Compared to what him and everybody else in that fucking institution, that criminal empire has done, fuck off.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you're bringing the atheist out of me in this.
I think that's nothing to do with atheism. I think there's people who are Christians who also believe that. But you could say that it's I would say the largest global pedophile enabling network the planet has ever seen.
Yep. It's somehow one person was able to rival that with the help of the British Empire. Jimmy Savile.
Oh, Jimmy Savile. I thought you were going to with Batten.
Well, he definitely tried. Actually, weren't those two pals? I think they were fucking pals, weren't they?
What, like exchanging notes?
Yeah, I think because Charles was a hero of his, right? Or the other way around. He looked up to Charles looked up to him, brother.
Yes.
And of course, he was friends with and they're all three friends. So
yeah.
All this has nothing to do with Argentina, I guess. But
no, but we are talking about the Pope, who was Argentinian.
Yeah.
During that time, and that is okay. Thank you. That is the top 10 for this week. In 1880, a group of people called the Generation of 80 ran Argentina as a liberal economic powerhouse, with plenty of socialist policies to back up the huge wave of immigrants the roaring economy occasioned. Now, again, the thing about liberals is they will happily enact socialist policies as long as these policies feed into the economy.
Capitalism.
And in no other case. So if you see a liberal government doing socialist stuff, you can say, yes, that is good news for the workers, but also they're not doing it for the workers, right?
Right.
Today, the effects of this immigration are evident to anybody looking at a random sample of people from Argentina. And I guess maybe we just saw that. You can see the different colors and shades, and they have a kind of a European-y look to them, much more than any other South American country, I would argue.
Yeah.
They're very European-y looking Argentinians. In 1884, Law 1420 was passed.
Sorry, you were talking about their language. Is it more Portuguese, or is it more Spanish? Which country down there is Brazil. Is it Brazil? Brazil. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I always get those backwards. Thank you.
Argentina is they speak Spanish, but the Spanish they speak is very difficult to understand for people who've learned Spanish. If you watch,
it's a regional dialectic issue, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Like if in Spanish, if you know that there's a town in Texas called Amarillo, right?
Yes. Yep.
And in Spanish that means yellow, and in Spanish they would pronounce it amarillo.
Right.
But in Argentina they say amarillo.
Okay. Okay.
right? And that's just something you got to get used to, man. Also,
So
this is
you know what? I think if I learned Spanish that way, it would have made more sense to me.
maybe I don't
Just
know.
you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyways.
They also say vos instead of two, which is a bit takes a bit of getting used to.
Okay.
And they pronounce all their words kind of run together even more than Spanish people do. And
Okay.
it's
Never mind
difficult.
then.
There's a show
Never
called
mind.
Love Is Blind, right, on
Yeah.
Netflix, and there's an Argentina version of it. And if you speak Spanish, I don't know if anybody in our chat has some Spanish, but if you have some Spanish, go on to Netflix, click on Love Is Blind, and you will understand fuck all of what they are saying. Even the subtitles that tell you what they're saying, and you're saying, oh well, this must have been what they were saying. The way they speak is just like it's like a different language.
It's kind of like if you watch or listen to something in Scottish or Welsh. There's a
It's
little bit of a
very like as if
yeah.
you're watching a show in England set in Manchester,
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
right? Yeah, like it is English, and it's in England, and you're thinking, yes, but what are they saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there's a famous character in the Alan Partridge show. Do you remember I'm Alan Partridge? He was from
I've only
Newcastle.
seen bits of it. I've never been able to see all of it because it's just not over here as much.
There's a little friend
So,
of his working in a petrol station, and the gun-running joke is that he's from Newcastle, and no one can understand what he's saying. And
Okay.
what he's saying, all right, Mr. Partridge, oh, sorry, good one. And what he's saying is, are you all right, Mr. Partridge? But that's the way they talk in Newcastle, right?
I do love Steve Coogan though. He's great.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's
Yeah.
fantastic. He's so good at the satire that you might actually think he's a dick. He's that good.
Yeah.
Anyway, load of immigrants, socialist policies, but only to serve the economy, right? In 1884, Law 1420 was passed, which dictated public, free, compulsory, and secular education.
Oh.
Public, compulsory, free, secular education. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, guess who wouldn't like that?
Anybody here now?
Right. But in Argentina at the time, the Catholic Church did not like it.
Right.
But these guys
We-
did it anyway. So they went up
Right.
against the Catholic Church to offer public, compulsory, free, secular. The reason I'm saying it over and over again is because it's amazing and everybody
Yeah.
should do it. Although this law was passed almost certainly exclusively to ensure that the nascent industrial sector would have a properly educated workforce,
Of course.
every country should have Law 1420.
Yeah.
There had previously been a literacy problem in Argentina, but that went right away with Law 1420. All you need is
Nice.
10 years of under 1420. Everybody can read, everybody can write, whatever you want, right? And secular means that all the immigrants that were coming from different places would not feel unwelcome in the education system.
Right.
Fuck me, wouldn't that be great
Yeah.
if we all did? Anyway,
Yeah.
Argentina was way ahead of its time here, as you are aware. But similar laws were passed in Chile in 1920. Remember, they did this in 1884.
Okay.
In Brazil in 1934, and Peru in 1941. And as you alluded to earlier, some countries are still waiting for this to kick in.
Yeah.
In my country, 96% of the national schools, meaning age 5 to 12, say, 96% of those schools are owned by the Catholic Church. In my country, guarantees an education to every citizen. I know that there are little Muslim girls, right, going into the convent down below to be educated with their little hijabs on them, and there's statues of Mary around and this business, you know?
Yeah.
Like, whether or not it's appropriate, I don't know, but they can't feel terribly welcome there.
Fair. It's very fair.
Just take them all out and say, look, we will happily educate Catholics or Protestants or Muslims or Hindus or anybody. That's the way it should be.
Yep.
Right? Anyway, by 1865, Argentina had been transformed and was in one of the top 25 nations in the world by per capita income, not by gross numbers, just by per capita income. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But the early 1900s, they were outperforming Italy, Spain, Japan, and even Brazil, which was the powerhouse in South America at the time. So this thing that the generation of 80 were doing in the servants of the economy worked.
Yeah.
Capitalism was doing great business, and it was actually raising people up on the bottom level kind of accidentally as they went along. But I don't give a shit. Do it, right?
Yeah.
There's a better way to do it, but we're not going to discuss that. In 1916, Argentina held their first free and fair general election. Voting had been made mandatory for all men, and so things were looking grim for the generation of 80, who were essentially an oligarchy of elites. The biggest winner was UCR, or the Radical Civil Union, running on an actual socialist campaign. The president was Hipólito Yrigoyen, who had campaigned hard for the mandatory voting law before the election. I have learned that if Seamus makes a noise, by the way, I've learned to stop talking because there is a chance that something hilarious is about to happen, right? That's why I keep stopping. And this guy, Hipólito Yrigoyen, who had campaigned hard for the mandatory voting law before the election, again, probably because he knew he would benefit from it, the same as the guy who campaigned hard for the Electoral College before, right? This guy worked to elevate the working class through such measures as improvements in factory conditions, working hours, and compulsory pensions. Now, this is not in the service of the economy. This is in the service of working class, right? He passed laws governing rent controls and the construction of social housing, none of which, again, benefits the economy. He also set up a central bank to manage Argentina's currency and set up the energy company YPF, the first national energy company set up outside the Soviet Union. It is still in operation and is engaged in oil and gas exploration and production and the transportation, refining and marketing of gas and petrol products. Rarely for one of these companies, and as far as I know it's the only nationalized company that does this, it is vertically integrated. In other words, it owns the supply chain and the production chain. Usually they'll import stuff or get stuff done separately or outsourced to different. This company's in charge of the whole thing. During World War I, Argentina remained neutral, but the war meant a stronger market for Argentinian goods as industries in Europe were bent towards war production. But again, the economy surged. They were making money from the war. However, by 1930, there were valid concerns about Irigoyen's commitment to democracy, and a military coup removed him from power, putting General Uriburu in charge instead. This triggered what they call in Argentina the infamous decade, characterized by fascist governments, rigged elections, political repression, corruption, and general unpleasantness. You'll be familiar with this, of course, from our previous episodes.
Yeah.
Argentina would suffer a serious economic and social decline during this period, because that's what fascists do, that sent it from one of the best performing economies in the world to something more like a third world country.
It's funny how that happens.
Well, these guys were just corrupt to fuck. They would extract wealth from the country and put it into their yachts, I guess, or whatever they had back then instead of yachts, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not relevant to anything today. I mean, it's not like we're talking about anything in this episode that pans into what's going on in the world.
Well, certainly not in Argentina.
Well, there you go.
Former UCR president Marcelo de Alvear said of the conservatives during this time, this is a quote, "I have known that radicalism and the conservatives of Buenos Aires for 50 years, and let us agree that those conservatives have not improved in any way. They have done nothing for the benefit of the province. I have known them for 50 years because I've been active there. They had thugs and double-bottom ballot boxes at their service. I broke one in Moron. Today they are preparing to use the same weapons."
Okay.
Right, he was talking about a rigged election. He didn't realize that, in fact, all the elections were rigged during this period.
Okay.
So Uriburu immediately set about dissolving the parliament, which kind of set the tone. 2 years later, Agustin Pedro Justo was elected fraudulently, of course, and signed a very controversial treaty with England called the Roca-Runciman Treaty. Now, up until the 1930s, Argentina's biggest market for everything had been the United Kingdom. They were aligned with England, basically. As a result of the deliberations during the Ottawa Conference of 1932, which was held by the Commonwealth to discuss the world recession, it was decided to prefer Commonwealth suppliers, it was decided by England, to prefer Commonwealth suppliers like Australia or South Africa for beef. Argentina panicked, as again the UK was their main market, and sent a team of diplomats to London. Unfortunately, panic is not a good negotiating position.
Right.
And although the negotiators secured a guaranteed market for Argentinian beef, the concessions to England far outweighed the benefits. For instance, English companies were to be preferred in pretty much all international business transactions. Payments for public goods and services could be deducted from Argentina's foreign debt, and Argentina would only buy coal from Britain from now on, and there would be no excise duties on that coal. Britain basically made a massive profit on the deal. During World War II, Argentina again remained neutral, which was a problem for the United States, who used all sorts of diplomatic means to coerce them to join on the Allied side. And they did this to all the Latin American countries, and all the Latin American countries more or less caved except for Argentina, because the Argentinians prevailed, as they tend to do. In 1943, the infamous Decade Gang were gearing up to fraudulently install Patron Costas as president in yet another rigged election. Costas had already signalled an intention to enter the war on the Allied side, meaning against the Nazis. This proved too much for the military, who wanted to stay neutral, who staged a fairly bloodless coup in June with broad popular support. The people wanted to be neutral, the army wanted to be neutral, and you know what? If I was in an army, I would also want to be neutral if I was a soldier.
Yeah.
The loose alliance of conspirators had little in common, though, apart from wanting the infamous decade to be over, and they soon fell into infighting. And again, we see that over and over again. a united, in all our episodes, not all of them, in many of our episodes, we had a united group of people fighting against some terrible, terrible ruler. And then when they defeat the ruler, they just start fighting each other.
Yeah.
Arthur Rawson was the dictator of Argentina for 3 days, overthrown by Pedro Pablo Ramirez, who more or less handed the presidency to Edelmiro Julian Farrell the following year. Another thing I noticed was there's a lot of Italian names in Argentina here, and also a lot of Irish names.
Okay.
There's O'Reillys, there's Murphys, and this guy is called Edelmiro Julian Farrell. Farrell is an Irish name.
Yeah.
Eventually caving to US pressure, Argentina declared themselves on the Allied side of World War II in March 1945, just in time for the end of the war, so it didn't really matter.
Well done.
Yeah, well done, Argentina. What did matter was the vice president at the time was a guy called Juan Perón. That is
Whoa! Whoa! Bela Lugosi?
That is, I was going to say somebody else, but yeah, well done, Bela
So
Lugosi.
who were you going to go with?
I can't remember, but I was not that. I looked at him and I said, "Oh, he's I can't remember." Oh no,
I can't say anything but Bela Lugosi. I'm just wow.
I remember what I was going to say now. I thought he looked like Jorge Luis Borges.
Okay.
The guy in the previous image.
That's fair.
And that's Juan Perón, who, if you know anything about Argentina, is the most famous, probably, politician Argentina's ever produced. Juan Perón.
He slept upside down at night?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
We know he only came out at night.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
And he sustained himself with the blood of virgins.
Oh.
He was also the Secretary of Labour as well as Vice President, and he brought in national social insurance and was famous for favouring unions during industrial disputes and setting up a system of labour courts. So far, so we like him, right?
Well, I mean, Bela Lugosi was famous for that too. He was very much a union guy. He was a socialist. He was, yeah.
Yeah, but like you're getting confused between Bela Lugosi and the vampire now, aren't you?
It's all a big blur right now, Barry. I mean, come on.
Well, the vampire was a count, so I'm guessing he wasn't head on worker rights.
Yeah, that's fair.
All of this made him anathema to anyone vaguely right-wing in the political establishment, so he was fired in 1945 and arrested soon afterwards.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. Fortunately for Perón, there were mass demonstrations organised by the labour unions and also organised by his special friend Eva Duarte, who we saw before in the pictures, to demand his release. And he was released the following week. So the demonstrations work, folks. Demonstrations work. Don't let anybody tell you that taking to the streets does not work. Taking to the streets works. I mean, it's a bit rough sometimes, but it works.
Just it's not a demonstration for brunch, you know.
Oh, no, I mean, like political demonstrations. They do work. They don't think that they're pointless. Sometimes they work better than elections. A general election was called for in 1946. And perhaps predictably, despite strong opposition from the US, Perón won. This began the reign of what in Argentina they call Peronism, which we will discuss in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
That is the setup. That is all set. You'll notice really not much mention of America or the CIA there, not much mention. A little bit here and there, but America was leaning on them pretty hard, and they didn't kind of register it for most of the time, only towards the end of World War II. And I think they probably saw the end of the war coming and said, okay, we'll sign up now to get them off our backs, you know?
Fair.
So, what do you think of that before we jump into
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
We jump straight into what's happening this week?
Sure.
Hello, everybody. This is What's New. What's New is a section of the show if you're new to us, and you know you're not. Just hello, everybody who's with us. Big hi to Monica. This is the section of the show where we put FBI and CIA into Google, then we hit the news tab and see what hilarious mad shite they are up to this particular week. So you know that what we're doing here is, well, Seamus alludes to it every episode. He said, no, there's no parallel to that these days. But also, what's actually happening this week, Seamus, in the FBI?
FBI will no longer investigate ICE confrontations, per the New York Times.
No.
Yep.
No.
So, yep.
No.
So pretty much ICE will investigate themselves.
That's not real. That's not real. That's not real.
No, it's real.
That's illegal. That is illegal.
Yeah.
So they have no oversight.
That's what they're saying.
What do you call a gang of people who have no oversight and no need to observe?
Thugs. Thugs.
Yeah, the Gestapo,
criminals.
right?
That's what they fucking are.
No, wait. So
Yeah.
what if like an ICE agent just shoots somebody in the head in the middle of the street? The FBI won't
Well,
investigate.
it sounds like they'll do like a preliminary, but that's about it. They won't follow up because
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe
my
it.
next Texas construction worker fatally shot by ICE didn't have drugs despite FBI claims. So, what do you got there, right?
Yeah, but that is an investigation.
Right.
You
So
just
I don't
ignore
know.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it's time.
Cash. You know, people give Paul McCartney a lot of shit after he left the Beatles, saying, "What happened to you, Paul?" I'll tell you what happened to it. He wrote a bunch of really good songs. That's what happened
He
to Paul
did.
McCartney.
He had some moments that were but overall,
Cash.
yeah. Cash Patel fuels conspiracy theories about Lindsey Graham's death. Which,
Oh, no.
by the way, rest in piss, you motherfucker. So,
Yeah. He did not cover himself in glory, did he, Lindsey
yeah,
Graham?
fuck that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Basically, he just kept on saying that the FBI would be involved in the investigation, as if there should be an investigation to, some guy suddenly dying. But the conspiracy is that because he tweeted a picture holding a drone that was going to go for the Ukraine against Russia, that Putin had him poisoned or something. But whatever. Not that I'm defending Putin, but come on, give me a break.
Did you see
Speaking of
the news?
Russia, though,
What, did you,
Go
the,
ahead.
the Ukrainians are targeting Iranian ships now. Did you see that?
what the
Iranian
fuck?
ships being bombed by Ukrainian drones now. Iranian ships.
Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, go.
That tracks. Nazis. Kash Patel faced massive backlash over planned Russia trip
Oh, okay, go on.
because that's what the FBI needs to go do. Let's go to Russia.
Where did the backlash come from? Who was backlashing against him?
It's been all over Twitter. Democrats are.
Oh, just like popular backlash.
Yep. Let's see. Democrat Representative Andy Kim on the same day Trump imposes a 50,000% tariff on Canada. Kash Patel announces he's traveling to Russia. Trump continues to destroy our reputation abroad by treating enemies like friends and friends like enemies.
What 1,000%? What?
50%.
Oh, 50%. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, we have an organization for people who want to go to Russia, and it's called the CIA.
Yeah. Yeah.
The FBI is internal, and the CIA is external.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking blah.
That's
Kash
baffling.
Patel bashed for going to for going performative theater mode during the World Cup hype.
Again,
Yeah. Because
You mean-
he
Go
went
ahead.
on about how that it was, the most smoothest, the greatest sporting event. Quote, we put on the largest sporting event in the history of the world, and that there was no major incidents. We can't just say enough about the preparation and execution. It's been flawless. Which, I don't know if that's really true, Cash, but whatever, fuck off. It's always all about him. So mentioned in our previous episode, the Lavender Scare Part 3. I don't remember which one we
Three.
did. Okay. Kash Patel fired this FBI employee over a pride flag.
yes, I remember.
Yep. David Maltinsky, his suit is going forward, and they're fighting over discovery now because the
Good.
FBI doesn't want to release some of the letters and the actual files and reasons why they fired him. Even though Justice Department themselves basically said, "Yeah, you fired him because of the gay pen or the pride pen."
Flag, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all horseshit.
Yeah.
So
Do him. Good. Do it.
yeah. Yep. And that's the FBI.
Okay. Then that brings us to the CIA. Here we go. R. James Woolsey, embattled CIA director under Bill Clinton, dies aged 84. James Woolsey, a national security expert who led the CIA for 2 turbulent years after his appointment with Bill Clinton, died. He was 84. His wife told the Washington Post that his health had declined in recent years due to Havana syndrome. Do you know what Havana syndrome is?
Yes.
She says he died of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're interested in Havana syndrome, and you should be, we might do an episode about it. It's very interesting. I don't know if it's funny, but it's definitely interesting. Parts of it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Has Russia helped the Iran
Is that what killed
targets?
Lindsey Graham?
It's Havana syndrome, maybe. Has
Sorry.
and Al Jazeera is great, by the way. Al Jazeera.com said, has Russia helped Iran target CIA sites in the Gulf? When U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Russian Foreign Secretary Sergei Lavrov on Thursday in Manila on the margins of a summit of Southeast nations, Moscow's war in Ukraine was officially the top agenda item. The meeting was held under the shadow of fresh reports suggesting that Russia might be playing a more active role than it publicly acknowledged in Iran's attacks on United States sites in the Middle East. Well, whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one is on Axios. It says new Mossad director met with CIA chief on Iran. The new director of Israel's Mossad agency, Roman Goffman, visited Washington 2 weeks ago for talks about the war in Iran and the Iranian nuclear program, according to two sources. And Goffman is one of the closest advisors to Benjamin Netanyahu, and he was in a meeting with the CIA director John Radcliffe, as well as White House officials, because of course he fucking was.
Well, currently, probably by the time we drop this episode, we'll know whether or not this happened. But it's up to the Senate now to confirm this bill that's basically going to make us and Israel just 1-to-1 militarily, which is the most gross fucking thing ever.
It's treason.
Yeah.
It's treason. Do not vote for treason.
Right. I mean, let's just pretend that they're not who they are, right? That they're not doing war crimes. It's still, like you said, it's fucking gross is what it is.
Yeah. Like, don't do it in any country. Don't do it in Ireland or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sorry. If you want to get reelected, you vote against that. That's just should be the bottom line. But unfortunately, like Gore Vidal and Harlan Ellis have pointed out that Americans have amnesia when it comes to voting. So
yeah.
Anywho,
it's not good, is it?
No, it's not.
But I guess that's our show.
Sweet.
And the next time we will be talking about Argentina again, I predict. So when things hot up, and we'll be talking a lot about Juan Perón. And if you want to hear about that, then come back to us in 2 weeks. And if you don't, you should come back anyway because we'll be making jokes.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. See you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye-bye.